What's going on? So it was recently Christmas time, and I decided to gift myself something. Something I've always wanted and I've just felt wasn't worth the money. Maybe it's still not worth the money, I'm not sure, but I got myself a 3D scanner, and I went with the Creality Otter. It's a pretty affordable 3D scanner, but it seems interesting, seems to have good reviews, and so I thought it'd be worth giving it a shot to see if there's something cool we could do with it. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So this is one of the first things that came to my mind when I got this new scanner. This is my gravel bike. It's winter time, so I'm riding it in the garage on the trainer. And this is not my garage. I wish my garage was this nice. So one thing that I've always wanted to do is stick an AirTag onto this bike. And if you haven't seen them, here's what they look like. Pretty small little things. And the underside of the seat is the place that I was hoping to put this. So I don't know if you can tell, but that's just got a pretty complex geometry. I've tried making something with 3D printing to put in here before, and it's just hard to measure and I could never get it right. So I think what I want to do is scan this opening and try and make something that fits this perfectly up inside of here. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do. So here I'm out in the garage trying to actually use the 3D scanner. It's kind of an interesting process. You have to kind of look at the computer screen and hold this thing in free space and try and get all the right angles and get good coverage. You'll kind of see the model changing from red to green, which is basically the point. What we're trying to do is make all the points green, which means the scanner thinks it's got confidence that it's ready to or that it's correctly tracked those spaces. This isn't my first try on this seat. I actually did a scan previous to this one and had to delete it. It didn't work out. So this one I think was going a little bit better. So now you can see us kind of going through the workflow of processing a scan. This is like the raw point cloud data basically that gets output by the scanner. So this is the first thing you get, but it's not actually a mesh that you can really use for anything. So that's just what I'm doing, taking a look at it and making sure it looks okay. If it does look okay, what you do is you click optimize, which turns it into a point cloud. Once you've got the point cloud, each one of these steps you have the opportunity to clean it up. You could delete things that are stray scan points or whatever. You can delete those out. So once you've optimized it, you turn it into a point cloud. You could merge it with other scans if you want. I didn't end up needing to for this one. And then you turn it into a mesh. And the mesh is actually what we'll be able to use inside of a program like Fusion 360, which is what I'm going to use, but there's probably other options too. So now we're in the design process in Fusion. The first thing I start out by doing is bringing in that mesh we were just looking at from the Creality scan tool. So I exported that to, I think, an STL or an OBJ file, imported it into Fusion, and then what I'm doing is adding, so I direct edit the mesh and add some planes based on 3 points. And what I'm trying to do is get this model aligned to the origin, just so that when we start designing things, we have a point that we can, it's a consistent point to reference. Then I'm adding in an AirTag mesh. This is just something that I downloaded from, I can't recall where, maybe GrabCAD, and just so that I can use that as a reference to see where it fits in that seat opening, basically that space we have under the seat. So I just try and position it to where I want it to be. And then the next thing I'm doing now is designing the actual holder. And so I decided, just as a challenge, I wanted to try this out in a different way. I'm kind of used to doing more engineering-y looking stuff, so just boxes and circles and extrudes. And so this is the form tool in Fusion, which is making this a little more organic shape than I'm used to working with. And so what you kind of do is, you can kind of see me working with it, but you basically add points and lines and pull them around, and it kind of makes these compound curves, and you can get a shape that looks a little more organic maybe than you'd get through the standard parametric type of modeling you do in Fusion. So I thought that was interesting. I think it worked pretty well. Basically what I planned to do is I made this body in forms. I then converted it to a mesh, and then what I'm using is the mesh combine tool to kind of use both the AirTag. So what I then did is I deleted the AirTag out of the center of it using the combine tool, used the seat as a cutting tool as well to kind of get that fitment on the bottom correct, and then I cut it in half using the construction plane we added to the mesh in the first place, and that kind of left me with the end result that I thought would work. So this is what I ended up going with. I feel like it ended up being a little more bulby than I was hoping. I think what I could have definitely done is moved. I've got a little more space than I think I need down here, and I actually think probably went a little further back. Anyway, we'll see. I might end up playing with the size of all of this stuff later and trying to do a different job, but I think the idea is sound. I got a funny shaped, if you take a look at this thing, it's a really funny shape. Fits the contour of the seat. So let's give it a shot. I'm going to just 3D print it in some random filament and see if, I guess we'll also have to see, does the AirTag actually fit? I scaled it up by 105%. This model, I didn't do any measurements or anything. I just hope for the best when I downloaded it. So we'll print this thing out and see if it actually works. So here's what we got off the printer. I did a little bit of cleaning up. It had some stringing, and this is just using some filament that I don't care much about since it's a kind of a prototype. But it also nicely shows some of the reflections of the shape of this. You can kind of see, I guess I should show the AirTag inside of it there, but it has a nice, the contours that we would expect to fit up under the seat. So I just want to see. Yeah, I feel like that's pretty good. I didn't mention this, but one of my design considerations was I wanted these little strap holder things to still be available. This looks like it fits pretty nice, actually. For me, this is a success. I'm calling that good. I'm going to print it in a black color and use some double-sided tape, stick it under there. There you go. That wraps it up. I am pretty happy with that result, especially if you're being so new to working with the 3D scanner and mesh in Fusion 360. So yeah, probably be back soon doing something else. If you saw anything and have any questions, let me know. Or if you have any suggestions, especially for how I could better work with that stuff, and either in Fusion or something else, how to work with this 3D scan data. If you have other ideas, comment below so I can learn. That'd be awesome. Thanks for watching.